So you've been to the class before, so you know that every game I go into, every game that you go into, you want to look at all of your lanes, right? You have Fiora with Ignite, Set with Ignite, okay? You have Graze, who's really annoying for Evelynn, right? That's my instant thoughts. You have Veigar and Zed. So Zed has Ignite again, right? You want another lane that has Ignite. And then you have Zeri Yumi with super defensive summoner spells. And you have Kaisa Milio. So in my head, instantly, what I'm thinking of is I need to fight with my Fiora and my Zed the best I can. But I'm also playing Evelynn, right? So can I fight? Is the question. And so coming into the game, that's what I'm thinking about. In champ select, loading screen, right? Every single game you should go through this process of identifying lane priorities, if your laners are playing aggressively or defensively, and lastly, you want to think about if they're if they're going to be volatile. So priority in lanes, aggressive slash defensive, and volatility. So volatility, right? So these two come hand in hand, but top and mid are going to be volatile, top especially. So mid won't be as volatile because Veigar will just get prio, right? So the map should look like this. In my mind, this is what the map should look like. Right? So every game you go into, yeah, I'll send you a text for sure. Every game you go into, you want to think about priority, right? You want to think about what you can do to make sure that you're pathing to a lane with priority. So always path to prio, if possible. This game, you don't have much prio anywhere. It's maybe possible bot can get prio, but it's really flippy because Milio is going to be stronger than Yumi in a fight, and Graves is stronger than you by a lot, right? You should know this. You play Evelynn, you should know that Graves is going to be stronger than you in the early game fights, right? So you need to create a path in this game that makes it so you can clear as many camps as you can, that you can possibly impact top, and you're also not like forcing something that'll like lose the game, right? So with all this in mind, the first path that comes into mind, because we are in the red side, is Raptors, red, krugs, and gank top. And then recall, Dark Seal, go bot side. And I am now stronger by a little bit than the Graves because I now have Dark Seal and Graves doesn't. Even if Graves gets one of my camps, it doesn't matter because he already has prio. So if the Graves is good, he should know that as well, that he should get one camp no matter what because he's stronger than you and he has access to your camps. So that's every single game you should be doing this. Right, so you want to play the top side until 6. That's perfect. Okay, so the next thing I'm worried about early game is warding. Where should I ward this game to be defensive against Graves? And you could either drop a ward. So if you're doing my path, you want to drop a ward on the blue buff. If you're pathing normally, you're pathing bot to top, right? Which is also okay. You want to get a ward right here, right? So either way, you need to make your mind the moment you get into the game, and you need to drop a ward defensively because you're playing a champion like Evelynn. Okay, so you decide to go bot to top, that's fine. So the reason why I don't like this ward is because if you ward here, right? If you ward here, what's gonna happen is their jungler will eventually walk through like this or walk out like this. It's very unlikely that even if Graves goes blue to red, which is a very bad path, that he won't walk out like this, or he won't walk into your raptors and then walk out eventually. So you'll see him eventually. You want information of right here because there's so much more terrain to get information of. Okay, so you can cut the camp out a little bit more. It's not too big of an issue. Another thing that I like to think about is you got such a huge leash that you're actually like fine to save your smite and use it on the gromp, right? Because the leash you got was so big. So normally that's how I think about it. If my leash from any lane is really big, I like to save my smite for as long as I can to the next camp. Okay, so again, we're kiting our camp decently, but you could bring it out even more. You could clear the camp probably to like right here, right? So that's about 2-3 seconds you could save. Every single camp it's gonna look like you're losing 2-3 seconds because of how far you're missing out on dragging. Okay, So one thing we didn't get this game was vision of the enemy graves, and we talked about in the start, like their graves are stronger than us. So we need to be very cautious of their graves invading our top side. We now do not have a ward, right? So if Graves does his bot side and invades us, there's very little we could do. So we need to think about, right? He fucked you level 3, yeah, sure. So we need to think about how can we prevent this guy from damaging us the most? Because again, like we talked about, their Graves will get something no matter what if he's a good player. And you need to understand that that is okay. Don't worry. If he gets 1 camp, that's fine. If he gets 2, it's less fine, but it's still fine. Keep playing the game. What you don't want to do is you don't want to die. You don't want to lose all your HP. You don't want to make it so he runs you the whole game, right? You need to keep your conditions as best you can. But with that in mind, what I would do here is Raptors. I would walk around like this, right? So I will zoom out. I will walk around like this, right? And then I will clear my Krugs safely. Alternatively, depending on how top lane is going, so obviously you want to pan over there, I could bolt it to top for 2 reasons. 1, I know I got leashed, right? 2, I don't believe that their jungler got leashed, meaning I'm going to be faster into the top side. Okay, he did get leashed. Sure. So he did get leashed, which makes it so he is a little bit he's going to be even time with you. But the idea is you clear these camps faster than Graves does, right? Look at the map right now and look at your position and look at his. Just generally speaking, red krugs+raptors takes longer than blue gromp+wolves. That's just a general rule to keep in mind. So if you ran to top, you bolted it to top, look at how much faster you're going to be than him. Maybe about 5 to 8 seconds. You have 5 to 8 seconds of you being top while he's not. That is an option for you to keep in mind, right? I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's an option that you need to keep in mind, because after every single time you clear a 3rd camp, you need to think about what the next play is. But the correct play here in my head, because top is not that volatile, is you do your Raptors, you walk around, and you do your Krugs, and you bring your Krugs all the way up here. And again, League of Legends is a turn-based game. League of Legends, it is okay to lose. It is okay to lose a lot. People win games when they're down 10k gold. I've had games like that, right? What's going to happen is if Graves invades your red buff, that means he has very little time to defend, or he has no time to do any of his top side, right? So eventually, this Zed could get prio, right? Eventually, the Fiora could get prio, and now you have an invade on his camps, right? If you don't want to invade, you can pressure him off the crab, possibly, and go to double crab. If in the both cases, both of the worst worlds, mid has prio, top has prio, and you can't do anything, you can't touch any of this, go to bot crab, go recall. There's things to do. What you can't do is when the game state is bad, you can't make it worse. That is the common mistake that almost all junglers make. When they feel pressured, when they feel like they're losing things, they actually lose more because they make it worse for themselves. So, obviously we talked about Graves is stronger than you. You have an ward. Graves will want to come invade you if he's a good player. I'm assuming he's walking to you, and he's going to mess you up, right? Right, so we would have avoided all this if we got what to Krugs first. Lastly, if you want to do your red buff very badly after your 3rd camp, right, you have another path. Instead of doing your Raptors, you could try and one-shot this red buff and then go do Krugs, right? Because think about that timing. The Graves didn't show up until, like he's still walking there. He pathed wrong because he could path like this. Right, let me show you. He could path even faster, right? Because now he's going all the way around, which is longer, right? But the idea is if you really want this red buff for some reason, and you think you're fast enough, you can do this and then the Krugs afterwards. But this is the safest thing to do. Raptors and then your Krugs. Yeah, Krugs is worth more, so you 100% always want to do your Krugs over this and this, right? So even if you lost both of these camps, that's what I'm trying to say, is like you get this, you recall, you're still in an okay game state. Anyway, so let's look at the next state of the map. So the moment I die here, it's not the end of the world. Look at what Veigar did. I mean, Zed is kind of inting by leaving his lane. Zed should shove this away. But what's going to happen here is we just respawn and we need to look at our waves, right? We're not looking at our waves to understand or to try and make a gank. We're looking at the waves to understand what's going to happen in the next minute or the next 2 minutes. So Set's alive, obviously, and our Fiora is dead, and she has no TP. So Set's wave is going to push in. That means the wave will be under the turret, right? And in 2 minutes, Fiora will have a slow push that's around right here into the enemy top side, right? What else is in 2 minutes? His top side should recall, unless he decides to fight the Set and the Fiora so they can clash here, or unless Graves decides to recall now. Otherwise, you can have a potential invade into his top side, because what you're gonna do is run to your camp that spawns at 4:15, right? And you're gonna clear up, and you should know ahead of time that this wave will bounce into them. If there's no invade to play, you're playing Evelyn, you just got killed, Graves is strong, take all of your camps and recall, right? And you need to be okay with just taking the loss. It's okay to be down 1,000 gold. It's okay to be down 2,000 gold. It's okay to be down 2 levels. People still win games down 2 levels. Okay. So we're going to the bot crab. We died a bit early, and that's fine. There's a bot play here, and we identify that from base, right? These guys are stepping up very far. The reason why I like this play, right, I'll tell you why, is because look at this wave right here. These guys really want to clear these casters. So even if Melia was standing here or here, obviously she's very far up, so she's even more inting. But they need to clear these caster minions no matter what. This is why I think this is a very decent chance of this working. 70% chance is what I'll give it to. And that's why I like this gank here. So good on you to identify that. I think I like your charm target. I don't mind it at least. Get the guaranteed kill. So one thing I would do if I'm Evelyn here and I'm ganking like this is I'm going to take the kill. Zeri scales well, but I want this kill here. I have Dark Seal and I'm playing Evelyn. My champion this game is actually way better than Zeri's against these champs. Right? One-shottable, 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 one-shottable. Right? Even this guy's low-key one-shottable. So but your champ is actually very strong. I want you to think about jungle as you need resources, especially on champs like Evelyn. Okay. So what happened is Fiora's wave, look, like we talked about, it's slow pushing in. Right? Also, he solo killed top. So like we talked about, the game just swung from you guys being down 1k to now you guys being up 300. Right? You made good plays, you stayed focused, you didn't mental boom, and that's good. Right? I'm happy that that's how this game went. Okay. So again, from here, what we want to be thinking about is jungle tracking. Right? So we just showed bot lane, right? And they know we showed bot lane. We know that Graves pathed up because we know he has a red buff, right? And he has 12 CS, right? So if Graves cleared his whole top side, right, that means his bot side's up. If Graves recalled right after the top play and ran to his bot side, it wouldn't make sense, right? Because he would have recalled at 3:18, which doesn't make sense, right? He's recalling too early. If he recalled right here, it's too early, right? So you know for a fact that he's invading or he's clearing his top side, and eventually he wants to return to bot side because he only has camps in the bot side. So you have an opportunity to A, dive top, B, clear your camp safely, or C, invade his bot side, right? And I'm just listing out options for you here. The best thing to do, again, you're playing Evelyn, is don't take risk, clear your camps, recall, and restart the map. And again, that is completely fine to do. Don't feel pressured to dive, to invade, to do anything like that. Even if you're playing Jarvan, for example, or Release, don't feel pressured to make plays like that because they're very risky plays. So cool, I see you farming all your camps here. I want to see you recall after you use your smite on raptors. You never want to use your smite on raptors. You always want to use your smite on either krugs, gromp, or wolves. Raptors is the worst camp to smite. In that order. Krugs, gromp, and then wolves. And then raptors. Okay. So this wave crashed, right? Fiora's wave crashed. And if you're aware, the reason why it's really good that you're here is because this wave needs to crash. Again, if you wait 5 seconds, this wave isn't going anywhere. He still needs to clear this cannon minion. Okay? So you want to sit here and wait and not show yet because look, this is warded, right? You want to wait until Fiora is fighting him, right? Trade a little bit, and then when he's going for the cannon minion, you show up and kill him, right? But if you show too early here, you let him know that you're here. And look, he's just gonna walk away. Or he's gonna want to 1v2 it, but he's almost level 6, so he wants to play it, I guess. I mean, that guy's just inting. He's not happy, but because look, the moment he sees you show right here, he could just leave. He's leaving, and you don't kill him, right? So if you're playing to pressure this wave, you need to be aware of what the set is thinking about. All this guy wants to do is crash these minions right here. So you wait. You wait until he's ready to crash the minions, and then if you show and he leaves, right? One, he's not going to be watching this ward because he's going to be focused on the minions. But if he's really, really good and he leaves, guess what? He just lost the cannon minion and 3 casters. So that's minus about like what is that? Like 120 almost, and a lot of and some EXP. Cool. So pretty much whenever ganking, always watch the wave and think about what the enemy laner is thinking about. The only reason why they would walk up is to crash their wave. So time your gank with the wave crash. With them trying to crash the wave. Best case is when they're focused. So the best case is when they're focused on the cannon, right? Okay, so you end up getting this kill, that's great. I like this play because your bot camps are not going to spawn for a while, right? You have some downtime, you want to make this play and then instantly recall. So instantly I want to see you recalling. Right? So all of this right here is pointless. Because even if this guy's camp is up right here, if you take his camp right here, you lose your bot camp right here. Right? If you take this camp right here and he's actually running it straight to you, and their set who just coming out from base comes to you, you're going to lose a lot in this game state. It's very risky. So I would just recall right after I make the stop play. Right? I would have recalled right here. 548, I would have ran to this bush right here and just hit B. Or this bush and hit B. Right? But instead of recalling at 550, you recalled at 615. Is it not good to ward for the allies? Well, the only reason why it would be good to ward, right, because your teammates have wards, is if you're literally already in this area and you have no camps respawning. But you do. This camp is about to respawn. You're going to be late to this camp. You're going to be late to come into this camp. Right? You're late to the blue buff and you're late to the gromp. You want to be here getting information for these guys the moment these camps are up. Right? The way you can help them track in this position is you get yourself level 6, and then you can start invading his red buff. You can start warding over here. The reason why you don't need to ward in the top side is because your Fiora just killed him. This guy wants to recall. He's not going to play top lane for the next minute. Right? So you need to play for your conditions, and don't worry about tracking the enemy jungler until you're playing with the right lane. So if this sequence, you want to track the enemy jungler with vision, that's fine. Also, their graves clear the dragon, so you know where he is. Right, so I would recall earlier, but even now I would go to recall, and I'm not walking 15 seconds to get one piece of information from my team. No, it's not worth it. You should use the jungle tracking that you know to ping and assume where the enemy jungler is. You're at a decent elo to where you could probably assume what his camps look like, right? That's the way I would see it. Okay, from base here, we lost about 25 seconds, 25-30 seconds, and that's okay. We're doing blue buff, this is fine, this is all good. So one thing Yeah, you're not level 6 yet. You're almost level 6. What you could do is you could go to this wave and get EXP. But the reason why I don't like playing for these 2 kills here is because, again, look at the wave. This wave's going into them. So if these guys don't fight, there's no play, right? So you're flipping a play based on these 2 fighting. So even if you're level 6 here, what I would do is just clear up and play what I call a natural game. You don't want to force plays like that. You full clear your camps, you play for Herald, you play with the lane that you've been playing with, right? And after you clear, let's say, your wolves and your raptors, and you want to reverse back to bot side, you can do that. But you want to clear as many camps as you realistically can before making a play. Again, look, they're crashing their wave. Right, the only time you want to be on this wave right here is if these 2, they need help crashing this. If they can't do it in front of their faces, you want to be here, because what that means is these 2 will be able to fight, right? If these guys can't crash, then these 2 can fight, right? So if you make the judgment that Zeri and Yuumi cannot crash this wave, even though they're up decent item, then you go bot after the wolves and you help them. If not, there's no play bot. Okay, so you see Graves hit the Scryers, and that's why you're coming to our spot. These guys are playing really aggressively, and you see that, so that's good for you to spot. The only reason why you're here is if you think you win 3v3. Graves kind of dashes forward, he's inting. This is good. Take the kill, good. All of this is pretty good. You have no bot side camps, so you insta recall. Really good judgment call from you. So, good to punish enemy jung mistakes. Good reset to keep tempo up. Keep in mind these plays don't have a good success rate if the enemy is not inting. Doesn't mean don't punish. So what I'm trying to say is you're making plays that punish the enemy, right? And if they don't gank, if they don't make the play, it's not a good success rate. It won't work if they don't make that play, right? So you're making a play that's good because the enemy is inting, but that doesn't mean don't do it if they are inting, if that makes sense, right? Because you should always want to punish their mistakes, but if they're not making the mistake, then there's nothing to be punished. So imagine a world where you came bot here and the Graves isn't doing this, right? The reason why it's good for you to be bot in the first place is so these guys can crash the wave. And maybe that's good because Zeri probably has a lot of gold there. She has 1300 gold, so she wants to recall. And that's fine. But the problem is you have your entire top side untouched, you have Herald untouched, and you have a Fiora who wants to fight, right? So if Graves doesn't decide to gank here because Graves also has camps, then there won't be a play for you to do here, right? But you see the Graves hit Scryers, right here. You see how the enemy ball lane is playing, and you also see that your teammates need to crash this wave. So I like you coming to bot here and counter gank. But the point is not to look to counter gank this Graves. The point is to crash this wave. You need to think about the game this way so you can make more consistent plays, right? Because if you're thinking, oh, the reason why I'm bot here is to counter gank Graves, you're going to find situations where if the Graves doesn't gank you here, then why are you here? And you're going to be confused as to why you're here. Think about the waves almost at every single point when you're interacting with a lane. Think about waves at all points when trying to interact with lanes. Okay? That's the most important part of early game jungling, right? And we'll backtrack. Prioritize camps, especially on champs that need resources. One camp equal to one wave. Right, and last thing is play a natural game. Don't feel forced to invade /gang/ pull objectives. Clearing your own camps and relaxing is good. And lastly, the one thing we talked about was think about the jungle 1v1 slash strengths. If the enemy can invade you, play path accordingly and defensively. Okay, so we're gonna look at this sequence next right here. You're gonna recall, good recall for you. What you haven't been doing too well though, I will say. Actually, here you did it good, but playing the fog line a little bit better would be something that you could do a little bit more. So here, what you could do is you charmed a little bit early. What's going to happen is his Graves is going to E in first, use his W, and then if you charm, you have even, like, he has even less time to react. Because you charm so early, he could E out right now and there's no play. So this counter gank does nothing, right? So play your fog a little bit better is my advice for fighting, especially on Evelyn. But just in general, we'll see right here. So you walk up and you barely make it out of vision, but look, you almost recalled right on vision, right? So what you want to do is you want to, like, you want to walk further, right, to make sure that there's no vision that's being, oh shit, there's no vision that's being caught from right here, right? And B, pink is good to check for ward. Pink is good. Alternatively, you could have just swept. Okay, run to our top side. We have no ultimate now, so Evelyn's a very ult-reliant champ, right? And that's what I'm thinking about. So this Herald can be very hard to fight, depending on my mid and tops conditions. So I know I'm weak. So most champs, when they don't have their ult, they become weak. So what I would do is I would look mid. Oh look, my mid's half HP. I would look top. My top is better, like my top has wave control, but probably weaker conditions. So this Herald, if they want to fight the Herald, the enemy, you're giving it. What you're doing, you're going to give the objective. Give the objective if the conditions don't line up. And trade into the enemy bot side / clear your own camps. And it's okay to just clear your own camps. So what you would do is clear your top side, right? And then run down to his bot side, potentially, right? And then run or clear this. Do not force this Rift Herald. You do not have ultimate. Right? So all of this right here is unnecessary. It's flippy. It's not going to result into something great, the way I see it. If Graves counter ganks right here, this guy's full HP. How is he ever dying? This guy has flash. What are we doing here? We have all our camps top. Our bot side's about to respawn. And we have a winning ADC top. And you're also not doing that bad. So this play right here, again, waves. There's nothing for him to clear here. The wave you want to play on is right here. But this guy's full HP with flash. Are you actually ever killing this guy? The only thing you'll get is flash. But right now, flash is not worth it. You don't need to get his flash off. Why? Because you have other lanes to play with. Right? He just flashes away. And now, you've lost all your tempo to play for a mid flash. So if you decide that that's worth it, sure. But I'm playing Evelyn this game, right? If you're playing Evelyn, sorry. So you want to prioritize your camps over everything, right? And then if you make this play mid, like a wave later, you would be less punished for clearing for getting his flash. So imagine you cleared all of this, right? And then you walk down and you did the exact same thing you did, because I guarantee you this guy will walk up. You get his flash, you have your whole top side cleared, then you can walk into the bot side, walk into his bot side, gank bot, do anything here. You could re-gank mid without having to go back to your camps. But this way, what you did is you did Raptors, you warded, you ganked mid, and now you have to go back. Look at how inefficient that is. Go from base, clear all your top side, gank mid, and then go back to another lane. You need to make it more fluid. So that's the big thing I'm seeing right now. Things don't feel that fluid. You're having a lot of wasted time. I predicted everything. I mean, it's pretty clear what should happen if players are somewhat human. By now, your ult is coming up in 15, so I wouldn't be too afraid if you want to fight this Rift Herald. One thing you missed here is this crab is spawning, right? Look at mid conditions. Your Zed has wave priority, and even though Zed doesn't, because mid is closer to the crab, you could have fought this crab and gotten more information on the enemy jungler if he was there. You could have gotten EXP and resources for yourself. And lastly, if Set moves, you could just leave, right? And Set loses a whole wave. Because look at his wave. Again, look at his wave. If Set does not clear this wave right here, what's going to happen is this wave back here is going to stack, and it's going to kill this wave. So you want to go fight this crab here, okay? We missed out on a huge crab right here, and this guy, in fact, could have died, right? None of this would have been a problem if you did your entire top side, ganked mid, and then gone to crab. Okay, we're gonna go look at the next 5 minutes, and then we're going to look at mid game, and then we're going to look at another game. So right here, you get this kill, which is good, right? We expended our ultimate, which I don't think we needed to use. Right, you play Evelyn, so you can walk through ward, that's fine. This guy's just doing this. You charm, sure. Nice, you land that. Right, so you ulting is very bad here. Why? 2 reasons. 1, you already got this guy at half HP. Less than half HP. 2, you now don't have ultimate for 2 minutes. There are 2 objectives coming up right now. Let me show you. There are 2 objectives coming up. There is Dragon in a minute and Herald that's currently up. You now don't have ultimate for either. Never use your ultimate for a kill like this because effectively Set is already dead. He's dead. No, he's no HP. He has to recall. So go do this Herald with full HP Fiora, dead Set, and your ultimate instead of using your ultimate like this. It doesn't matter if you get this kill or not. The 300 gold is not going to change the game here. Even if you're down, even if the gold is 18.3k and you have 18k, the 300 gold difference is not going to make a difference. It's not going to do anything. What's going to do something is this next dragon. What's going to do something is this next herald. Yeah, sorry, I wrote it down for you. Clear 1 quadrant of your jungle before interacting with laners. That means krugs+raptors or gromp+wolves. Do not use important ultimates for kills. So, the question is, if there was no Herald, and I was doing this top play, if there was no Dragon to play for, or like bot side is not fightable, is ulting top good? And the answer is obviously yes. If you're not fighting this Dragon, and if you're not gonna, like, if this Herald is not yours either, let's say Zed is down 2-3 kills, down a Mythic, you're even down a Mythic, getting this kill is very, very important. But you're up gold. You don't need these extra resources because you've already done your job. This guy has no conditions. He has to flash now. He has to recall now. So this Herald is free. You've created a winning map state for yourself, but because you ulted, you made it less good. Yeah, the smite sequence. So smite priorities. So it's Krugs, Gromp, Wolves, and then Raptors, and then either buff level 1 is good. Okay, so from here, we end up doing this Herald, which is fine, because mid conditions are kind of even. But if the Graves does come and fight you, you now don't have ult, and he does. Okay, it doesn't matter, we get this, we recall, we should have Mythic. Game looks pretty decent. We almost have Mythic, it's fine. Bot lane is hard winning, so the entire game is winning right now. The entire map state is winning right now. So we're really close to our Mythic, right? I think we have like 600 gold more to go. We have Herald and we have Dragon up. So the thing that I'm thinking about is 2 things. 1, what objective do we want to play for? Because there's actually 2 objectives to play for here. So at mid game, at around 10 minutes after Herald / second Dragon, Dragon / first tower break, focus your attention on objectives. So the way I look at this is there are 2 objectives you can play for. A, there's a tower. B, there's a dragon. And C, there's your item. So objectives: towers, dragons, herald / baron, items. Okay? So you can play for any of these. Because you have the herald, you can play for turret. Because your bot lane's winning, you can play for dragon. And because everyone's winning, you can just farm for your mythic. Right? But you want to accelerate in this game. So getting dragon or herald is worth more than your mythic because your laners are going to have their mythics too. So one thing you need to note here is you want to play with your super fed Zeri, your super fed Fiora, not with this guy. Sorry, but if this guy's included in the fight, that's fine. But you always want to find the strongest ally and play the objective with them. So if that means it's Zeri in this case, what I recommend you do is clear your raptors and then go into the bot side. So we talked about this in the class, right? But you want to clear your weak side if this guy is your strong side. And if you want to play this guy as your strong side, then this would be your weak side and this is your strong side. And you're playing for two separate things here, right? If you want to play for Fiora, you're playing for this turret. That's a fine objective to play for. You want to get more gold. If you want to play for Zeri, you're playing for this dragon. Very good scaling for both Zeri and you. If you want to play for Zeri as well, what you can do is play for this turret and this dragon. So what I would do if I were you in this game is, yes, clear my weak side right here, go down bot, clear all of my camps, right? Because Zeri needs to recall. Look at her HP. She needs to recall. So what I would do is from base, I would be watching bot lane. I would see, oh shit, she needs to recall soon, right? She probably has a lot of gold, 1600 gold. I would go do my raptors, clear down, think about dragon, think about breaking bot turret. Yes, it is simply better to always play for winning lanes. That is correct. It's not a bad thing to try and help everyone. It's just less efficient and more risky. Cool, so we do our camps here. Our Zeri's coming off of map. We're interacting with Zed. This guy has no flash. You're playing Evelynn, so ganking on Evelynn is kind of like a cheat, right? Because most champions, if you show up here, unless you're playing something that has a lot of CC, or you want to invest flash, it's going to be hard to kill. But looking for this play is not that bad because Zeri's not back on map. But if I had an option, help mid or help bot, A or B, I'm always choosing bot, right? Because Zeri is the one that will carry, not the Zed. But because you have downtime is what I'll call it, go and gank mid. That's fine. But again, you had this camp up. You have these camps. You would have cleared like this. You wouldn't have time to gank mid, and that's fine. Because again, I don't think this Veigar should be playing like how he's playing. Look at how far up he is. He has no flash. He knows what both of your champs are capable of. If I'm this Veigar, I'm not playing this far up, right? So again, the reason why this is decent, he has no flash. He's clearing the wave really fast, and he wants to go for these minions. Your Zed, if he uses like one ability on the wave, it'll instantly shove that way. So if this Veigar just waits patiently, he will be able to catch his waves under turret safely. You're a Herald. Yeah, Herald is very good, don't get me wrong. Herald is good. His cage was also terrible. What kind of cage was that? But it's good, you didn't have to use anything. Drop Herald mid, that's fine, you get 2 plates. We can talk about Herald being a little bit better later. Or in a future session, maybe a class. But the way you use Herald here is fine. Don't stress Heralds, realistically. You want to just kind of use Herald however, pretty much. As long as you're getting 2 plates from it, you're doing not a bad job. One thing I don't like about this play is why. Right? You always ask yourself, like, what's the intention with getting this kill? Is there an objective you're getting from this? Is there, like, a gold you need? Do you need this gold for your item? Like, you don't need the gold. You don't need anything. Breaking mental, right? I understand it, but you need to break out of thinking about it that way. I completely understand from a player POV, but for me to coach you properly, I need to tell you that hey, this is actually very very bad because you're playing for something that's not like real. If Graves is a pro, for example, if he's a challenger player, if he is good player in general, he won't care about you using your flash, your ult, everything, and you die afterwards. Because honestly, it's very hard for you to kill this guy and live as well. Maybe if you ulted this way, you would have been able to live. But it's realistically not worth it. What I would have done after I dropped Rift mid is not go for Raptors. But again, we're in the mid game. Go for objectives. Objectives, objectives, objectives. If you focus the objectives, I swear to you, it'll feel kind of weird at first. Oh my god, I'm doing so many objectives. But you'll just win more. Dragons have a positive, just the same way you're breaking the enemy's mental. Dragons break all 5 of their mentals. It buffs all 5 of your teammates' mentals. It literally buffs your teammates' stats, right? It makes you feel like you're doing good work. You won't get flamed as much because dragons equal, oh, good jungler, right? So you're actually doing more by unironically taking dragons away from the enemy team and probably giving it to your team. But focus, focus, focus objectives. Okay. So this game is about to end, and that's fine. It looks like, for the most part, you're kind of just, you know, at this point, you're kind of not focusing objectives. That's how you're going to win game. Oh shit. My internet. Okay, shit. My internet just crashed. I'm back though, I think. Okay, cool. So, mid-game, this is the best thing to look about. Find the strongest ally and play the objective with them. If there is no strong ally, do not contest objectives. Just trade and farm as many camps as you can. Play with the teammate that is still stronger than the others. Sometimes you have all 5 of your teammates inting. Okay? We're going to look at the next game. We're going to briefly go through early game. I'm going to tell you my exact thought process. And we're going to look at the mid game from there. So we have this 179 German game we wanted to look at. Oh. My client is bugging out. Just give it a sec. It should come back if we give it a sec. Obviously, I won't count this to the time. Cool. So, let's look at this. 1-7 game, you entered a lot. Do you want to look at the Jarvan loss then instead? That was weird. I don't know why it didn't load. Okay, I guess I cannot load it. Let's try and load a different game because it's not letting me load that one. And it's okay. It's okay to lose. It's okay to, you know, have bad games. Like, that's the thing. Like, number one thing is, I didn't write it down, but it's about mental, right? It's like always stay focused in game. It doesn't matter how far you are behind. Do not FF, mute/mute all, mute teammates pings. Like, all these things, you can win and improve if you stay focused, right? It's really important to just stay into the game. Okay, so we're red side again. We're playing against the Shen jungle. Okay, that's very interesting. They have Malzahar, they have Janna. So instantly, the first thing I'm thinking about is literally these two guys can just permanently invade me. This guy can permanently leave bot lane, right? My Darius, I mean, my comp is also not like very weird. The only player I want to really play with early game is the Ashe or the Darius, right? Veigar, not so much. But pretty much, we have Milio bot, we have Janna bot, we have Dave Trist. So I think about prios, and I mean, Tristan is so good at getting prio, but Ashe has more range. I think it could be kind of even bot lane. I actually just don't know. So I'm just gonna leave it even. Mid lane, I'm gonna give it to Malzahar early game. Top lane, I'm gonna give it to Singed. So you have 3 lanes of losing prio, right? That's kind of like based off what I'm thinking about. You have 3 lanes of losing prio. So there's no real right answer to where you want to path to. You can't really gank anyone. This guy, spell shield, he'll flash, he'll live. This guy, he has ghost. This guy, he has jump. Janna can cancel you. So what I want to do here is, what can I do to safely full clear? Or vertical jungle against this guy. If Shen wants to start my camps, I want to stay away from him, right? So I think for me, what I would do is I would clear top down, and then reset or just chill and wait till level 6s. Once we're level 6, we are way stronger in this game. Let's see what you do.
30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
So wrapping up, and that's okay. I wouldn't say it's the wrong way to path, but it's very likely that Singed will go ahead and invade you. So this is good. You save your oh shit. Okay, it was almost good. So quick tip: if you're saving your smite on the first camp, right, and you deal good single target damage, your passive, do not smite either blue or gromp. Save it for wolves or for red. Save your smite because you do good single target damage. And again, we talked about leashing earlier. You got a leash, so saving your smite, that was good at least. Okay, so at this point, you have a ward, right? So what I would do is I would ward here. I don't know if Shen wants to invade me or full clear. He probably wants to invade me. So I need to get vision right here to make sure I'm not getting invaded. Right, so we have some wasted time right here. You're never going to make it to this play. Ever. Never, ever, never, ever, ever. Look at how far he is. Look at how far you are. Right? Additionally, if Shen's here, if Shen's here, if Shen's here, you're dead. Farm your camps and relax. There's no pressure for you to do anything. Shen can make these plays against Jarvan. I'm pretty sure if Shen lands his E on you when you're at this HP, he'll one-shot you. Right? With his Q, he lands your E, he comes from off of vision. Right? Like, if you don't have a ward here, and he walks the same way Graves killed you as Evelyn, he'll do the same thing. I don't think it's that hard for him to do that. But he's full clearing, so it's fine. You should just be kind of aware that junglers in general like to invade, right? I'm not saying it's good for junglers to do, but they like to invade. Especially since if I see a weird champion like Shen, I'm kind of going to be worried that he might invade. Okay. Look at the time it is that you finish your camps. 3:30, 3:40, 3:40 almost. 3:41, right? The crab's already been spawned. You're not getting this crab ever, okay? This camp spawning at 4:10 because you cleared even faster. You recall, you run out of base. It's going to be it's going to be 3:49 when you recall. It's going to take 20 seconds to get there. So you're going to be there at literally exactly perfect time, right? So whatever goes on from this point on is going to look bad. I assure you. Because you had no flash, you ended up not getting that kill. But this kill is very risky in my head because Shen should think about his top wave and also be here, right? If I'm a good jungler and I see my Sin just staying, he's sitting right here. So this is a risky play because you're flipping on the fact that Shen won't be here. You're also flipping on the fact that the Singed is like going to play in this way, right? Because Singed, his wave, is completely fine. I don't know why he wants to stay. So you've already committed to your EQ before he showed, right? For what? You're going for the crab is what it looks like. But it should be gone. Right? Okay, so we don't get the kill. Look, our camp is already respawning right now. Uh-oh. It's really sad that that's how it looks. You're going for the bot crab. Their bot has prio. I would just do my gromp, just do my wolves. The thing is, you're up tempo, so I'm happy. I'm happy right now because I'm up tempo. I full clear all my camps. I don't gank anywhere. I'm hitting level 6 as best as I can. My krugs are up. I want to go do my krugs. Actually, if they're doing dragon, I like this invade. Yeah, they are doing dragon. Okay. This is good. Good punish. You see them doing dragon. Go to my krugs. Good. One thing you want to do here is avoid any wards. So luckily, Singed doesn't want to ever use wards. But what I would do is I would run like this and EQ over. So I've been talking about this a lot. Fog, how important it is for you not to show. Pretty much the moment you show that you're top lane, these guys can play like this. And you don't want that. So dodge every single time you can. Dodge wards. Yeah, I'll write it down. Sorry. Um. So I should give timestamps, but it's okay. Next, it's my bad. I should have given timestamps last game. Sorry about that. But I'll just add it right here. Um, always dodge vision if you can. Staying in fog is so important as a jungler. Cool. So after we did Krugs, we should recall. It looks like we recalled. We do blue buff for level 6. So here, Fallen is fighting like crazy. So I don't mind you looking for this because of how much Fallen's fighting. Good, you run. Okay, so I want to look at this fighting real quick. Alt to kill. Right, we EQ'd over there. If you want to kill this Tristana, you should flash EQ or EQ flash. Probably flash EQ because you want to get the EQ damage. Here, you're never killing this guy, ever. This guy will never die at this HP. Right, even if you land your EQ, he's just going to E away eventually. So, you chased him a little bit too far. It's fine. You live, you walk back here. You're... Yeah. So, what I was about to say is, you're throwing your Q out a lot before you have your E on Jarvan, and that's very bad. If you saved your Q until you had your E, you could actually do a lot of work in this fight. But to me, I don't want to fight this. We just went 2 for 1. It could be 2 for 2. Just go back to midwave, go to all your camps. You have 5 camps up. That's why I hate making plays like this, because if you die, right, you lose so much tempo on the map. So even if you made the play, it's not a bad play, right? You got 2 kills. Leave your fucking teammates. They don't matter. You need to make the executive decision as to whether this is a good or bad play. Stop just mindlessly fighting with your teammates. Your teammates don't know if it's a good or bad play. Your teammates just want to fight. They're bored in lane. They're bored players. They want to fight. Go do your camps, right? And play the game normally. Play the game in a normal way, in a non-stressful way. It's easier to farm camps than it is to permanently fight, and you can win that way. So again, we did this last game. After you clear raptors, you look like you waste 15 seconds every time. After you clear raptors, you just decide, I'm going to walk to a lane. I'm going to walk somewhere. No, clear your top side. If you want to walk somewhere right away. Skip all your camps. Or do red buff and then walk somewhere. Whenever you're doing your camp, at either quadrant, I talked about this, you want to do krugs and raptors at the same time. Right? That's generally just how you want to think about it. Clear your raptors and gromps at the same time. Clear both at the same time so they are synced. If you can, you want to do that. If there is an urgent thing that's happening, go for it. But there normally isn't. Okay, so we're going to just jump right into the mid game, right? And we're going to jump to this dragon. Okay, you're down 4k gold. It's soul point, and let's look at the map state real quick. Okay, so you're stacking 5 here, Sinch is splitting. Sinch has no TP, so this should be a free dragon for us. This is good, focusing the dragon. Okay, okay, so the next thing to think about is Herald, right? You guys are down a lot of gold. They're also split pushing bot, so you don't want to go for this kill. You want to just do Herald. If you're playing like this already, you want to do Herald. Okay, because look, the same way I've been talking about this the whole time. Sin should walk like this. Why? No reason. Sin should walk like this and be safe. Sin should walk like this and be safe. But you find the punish. If you know he has no flash, you should be like hunting him. If you think you could kill him. But you do end up getting the kill, I hope. Nice. They get Rift Herald while you do this, which is really, really unfortunate. From this point of the game, it seems like you're just down a lot of EXP and gold because you skip a lot of your camps. But, so this is where I would explain how, like, okay, so top is not doing great. Mid's doing okay, ADC's doing like okay. No one's really strong. You're actually one of the strongest on your team. You want to full clear as many times as possible until your teammates hit items. This Ashe has no items. This Veigar does. So if I'm fighting with anyone, I'm fighting with Veigar or Darius. Ideally, I need to stop clicking that. I sorry. Ideally, I want to play with my Veigar because Veigar has cage, right? It's easier to play with Veigar. Depending on the situation, I could play with Darius, but pretty much from this point on, you're trying to get 1 to 2 items. So you're trying to get your Black Cleaver. You're trying to like wait until the fight is good, until you have numbers. You don't want to force anything. So let's see what you do. Sorry. So Shen is inting, so you're punishing him. Sure. He went to go do your camp, so you're punishing him. It's good. A little bit forced. We went for the wrong target. Just kill the Janna, right? You saw she had no flash from earlier. Just kill the Janna. Tristana has jump, right? But in general, you've already succeeded in the play here. You killed the Shen. The game is good. You have the camps up. Your Darius needs to recall. Just chill out. It's all good. The game won't lose itself. You're going to lose the game on... Like, right now, you're losing the game for your team by doing this. The game hasn't been lost. No, everyone seems decently strong mental. No one's, like, stamping like crazy. Like, the game is pretty okay. The moment you do shit like this is where the game gets really, really hard. Sure, you flash ult to you, but still, it's now you're missing time on your camps. You're spam pinging you're pinging your team, which is not a great sign, right? Obviously, you don't want to do that. But just in general, the less you do in losing situations is actually better. You need to make smart decisions and not just fight them like monkeys. Okay? So, okay, so I'll write this down, but this is the last thing, and then we're gonna recap everything. When in a losing situation, it is better to relax, farm camps, and find good plays versus forcing. Never ever chase, especially focus objectives, map state, and camps. So never ever chase, especially in the mid game. This is just generally speaking. You never want to chase. But just to backtrack, to wrap up the session, every time you load into the game, right? Every time you load into game, you want to check if your lanes are prio, if they're playing aggressively or defensively, if there's volatile lanes, and you want to decide your pathing. So with smite priorities, you can see that this is just really quickly how I think about it. But you always need to think about this level 1 as well. Where when the game starts as well. If you're what the strengths are, okay? So what you should do is always prioritize camps if you can, right? Because one camp is very important, right? Whenever you gank, you really need to watch the waves. It seems like you have an okay understanding of it. Maybe you were lucky, maybe not. You need to watch the waves, okay? Your tempo is not bad, right? You punish mistakes pretty well. Your ganks that you've been making, it's very hard for these to work if the enemy jungler is not inting, or if the enemy laners are not inting. Okay? So whenever you want to interact with the lane, you always want to look at the wave. Okay? If the conditions are not good on the map, don't fight the objective. So multiple times in both of these games, you cleared one camp, walked to the objective that you can't contest, and warded it, or like tried to fight it, or done something. Don't do that. You do want to focus objectives, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're too weak. So clear your camps. Camps are in itself its own objective. It's a lot of gold. Getting your next item, like we talked about, items are objectives. Okay? So if you want to interact with a laner, you want to always clear one side of your quadrant. So weak side, normally. before you interact with a lane, right? Do not use your ultimates like on an Evelyn, even on the Jarvan, especially for kills. You only want to use it if you're behind or you need the gold, like for a kill. Otherwise, save your ult for the objective. Always dodge vision if you can. It's just general rule. And when you're in a losing situation, just relax, farm, finding good plays, and do not force things. Lastly, for mid game, so focus your entire mind on objectives. Objectives will make the game easy because, like we talked about in fundamentals, it's the easiest question to ask. How do I play for Dragon? And then you go and gather information, you process that information, and you make a decision. Maybe the information is that you can't play for Dragon because your entire team is too weak. So then you go trade. Then you go play into the other side of the map. If they're on Dragon, you go break the top turret. If they're on Dragon, you go invade their top side. Okay? If there's no objectives to take and you're done with all your camps, find the strongest ally, weak side the camps that they're not in, that they're not on. So for example, this game, if you want to play for this is bad timestamp, but if you want to play for bad timestamp again. If you want to play for Darius, sure. So let's say it's mid game. You clear weak side and then you go top again. Even in the mid game, that stays true. Okay. So if there's no one strong, just keep full clearing, recalling, and wait for good opportunity. The enemy team will int. They're not gonna play perfect. No one ever plays perfect. If the enemy team played perfect, they would be challenger. They would be higher than challenger. They would be better. Never chasing the mid game. Focus objectives, map state, and camps. Okay. And lastly, for mental, you always want to stay focused in the game. You started pinging your own Ash. You started like spam pinging assistants. Try to stay away from doing that. Go into every game, like we talked about. Think about your lanes, but also mute all. Mute all is so powerful. It keeps you focused. You don't have anyone to like bother you. You don't get mind controlled by your teammates. It looked like you don't get mind controlled as much. Some players do. Maybe you don't need to mute all, but whatever you do not type to your teammates in a negative way. Do not type to your teammates, period, normally. And don't ping your teammates. It's just not worth your time. Cool. Do you have any questions? All right.